Darren Dreger, man, thank you for coming out with the radio hits, the TV segments that inspire a very good portion of this YouTube channel's conversation. Because today we're talking about what Darren Dreger said on TV the other day that has really just blown out of proportion. And before anybody goes out there and says, "Oh, Lego, I can't believe you're making a video about this. What are you doing, man? You're clickbaiting us." Hey, calm down. Let me just try to defend myself over here, why exactly we're making this video. So, this video is one in a series of many, where we talk about the things that people are talking about. And it's not a matter of whether or not it's good to make a video about this or bad to make a video about this. The point is, people are talking about this. And in my opinion, it's such a big conversation to have that I want to insert my own opinion as well, because this tweet with the video clip of Darren Dreger talking on TSN was posted onto Twitter 2 days ago. It's at 1,000 likes, and for hockey Twitter, that's honestly pretty big. So it definitely did make its way around the community. Lots of people were talking about what was said here, and as a result, I want to talk about it as well. We did make a video talking about Sidney Crosby and the trade rumors before, but Darren Dreger kind of doubles down and cements his stance even more in this TV clip that I will link in the description below. So, this is mostly talking about Sidney Crosby and the idea of a trade once again. And it's not talking about the idea of a trade with Sidney Crosby being the important part of the trade per se. What Darren Dreger is insinuating in this clip is that a Sidney Crosby trade would be Sidney cementing his legacy in Pittsburgh. Now, if you haven't actually listened to the clip, which I probably recommend you should because it is kind of important to the context, Darren Dreger here is going off of the basis of this season. Because he's talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins and how, if they don't make the playoffs this season, the conversation that Ron Hextall and Brian Burke have with Sidney Crosby once the summer comes is going to be a lot more difficult. And for Darren Dreger, his perspective that is shared in the clip is that he would not be surprised, should the Penguins miss the playoffs, if Sidney Crosby says to Burke and Hextall, "Okay, I want to cement my legacy here in Pittsburgh, and the way I want to do that is by allowing you to trade me either to Colorado or New York in order to get the pieces to start a full-fledged rebuild." That is the perspective that Darren Dreger brings up, that he would not be surprised if Crosby decided to do that. Now, of course, if there's any Sidney Crosby trade or whatever, if there's any departure of Crosby from Pittsburgh, it's gonna be because Crosby himself wanted it to happen. There's gonna be no situation out there where Brian Burke or Ron Hextall, or anybody for that matter, force Crosby to go. That's not gonna happen. He was the face of the league for a long time. He's gonna stick around in Pittsburgh as long as he chooses. But this idea does bring up a very interesting idea as to whether or not Crosby, with the 3 cups he has to his name, would want to go out there chasing a 4th, and in the process would leave the Pittsburgh Penguins with a boatload of assets, picks, prospects, and young guys to actually rebuild. And that's a really interesting idea. It's almost like you're trying to be a little bit 3D chess, kind of big brain out here, kind of really trying to make a take that a lot of people could think about like, oh, that's an interesting idea. But of course, you know, it is just Darren Dreger giving his own opinion, saying that he wouldn't be surprised if Crosby said something like that. In my own personal opinion, because I'm free to disagree, I would be very surprised if Crosby said, "You know what, I'm going to go out there, just play some more games with the Colorado Avalanche or the Rangers, and you guys can trade me away, and you'll get some stuff to rebuild." How does that sound? It sounds great to me, right? Like, I don't know, that kind of feels pretty weird, in my opinion. Just kind of telling your organization that you've been with for so long, that you have established pretty much an identity within. Oh, hey, trade me so you guys can rebuild. Yeah, I want to get traded because you guys need the picks. You guys need to rebuild, so you can trade me in order to get that done. It's not me asking for a trade because I want to win a cup and I don't think Pittsburgh is good enough to win a cup. No, it's because I'm looking out for you. I want you to rebuild, so trade me. Like, that's kind of weird. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting from this idea here. And while I do acknowledge that there is a freedom of ability to have those ideas, I just really don't see it, you know? As I said, the only way Crosby's going to leave Pittsburgh is if it's from his own volition, and that idea, it's just so weird and wacky to me that I'd be very surprised if it actually went down like that. Now, I will say, Darren Dreger did kind of go out and he said that Colorado makes the most sense to him. He's really trying to push the Colorado could be a possibility kind of thing. So when I think about Sidney Crosby and the Colorado Avalanche, I'm like, okay, obviously the connection here, first and foremost, is Nathan MacKinnon. It's Mac Daddy, it's Crosby, the Nova Scotia boys over here. Just thinking about what that could be like, oh my goodness, Crosby, MacKinnon, Kadri, very good forwards over there in your center core, and then you still have the wingers, Mikko Rantanen and Gabriel Landeskog, and then on defense you have the stacked Bowen Byram, Cale Makar, Timmins, Graves, Girard kind of thing going on there. If there are any pieces that the Colorado Avalanche would have to give up to the Pittsburgh Penguins, like, does it not start at one of Cale Makar or Bowen Byram? Like, does it not? Does it not start with an Alex Newhook, too? Because he's a top prospect that the Avalanche have in their system that could be very beneficial to a rebuild, like the Pittsburgh Penguins could potentially go through if Sidney Crosby exhibits this same thought process that Darren Dreger is putting up on the TV. I don't know. There's a conversation to be had there. And I think of the Colorado Avalanche, who are already such a stacked team already, added a Sidney Crosby. It wouldn't really matter what they're giving up, unless they're giving up Mac Daddy himself, which I don't think they would, because, like, that's kind of the insinuation that they're having here in this conversation. I wouldn't be too keen on that, I think. Yeah, no, if it's MacKinnon for Crosby, I don't think you do it, honestly. I think Colorado says no, but you're going to have some other stuff going back, right? And that's the same going for the New York Rangers. Who knows if it's Alexis Lafreniere, bro? Like, oh my gosh, that just kind of popped into my mind right here. The Rimouski Stars being traded for each other? Nah, I'm not thinking about that. Obviously, though, the New York Rangers have so many good young pieces in their pipeline, either on the team already. Philip Cheadle's pretty good. Capo Caco, can't say enough good things about him. Alexis Lafreniere, Adam Fox, Keandre Miller. Good young pieces, right? And any of these guys, 1, 2, maybe 3, could definitely help out a Pittsburgh Penguins team should the Penguins start switching towards a rebuilding direction. I think it starts with Capo Caco, though, right? Like, it's Crosby you're giving up here, man. Come on. It's got to be, like, Caco, another big prospect, and, like, 2 firsts or whatever. Like, there's got to be a very, very big price to pay. I've noted this a few times before, and I need to note this every single time, because you know there's going to be some people down there in the comments saying, oh, what are you talking about? The value, it's totally skewed in the New York Rangers' favor. They're overpaying for Crosby. And yeah, I guess if you tried to put everything in the NHL 21 GM mode, it would seem like they're overpaying for Crosby. But at the end of the day, when you have star players like this, you don't trade for these players by giving equal value back, measured and quantified in terms of young prospects and picks. The Pittsburgh Penguins would be trading their best player, and you're not giving up your best player for Alexis Lafreniere 1-for-1, who has only played like 20 games in the NHL. That's not happening. You're overpaying for this Crosby guy because that's just the legacy that he's established, and you're gonna have to go out there and build an extraordinarily huge package that a guy as stubborn as Brian Burke would actually say yes to, or Ron Hextall would say yes to. And you're not gonna get that done if it's just Crosby for Lafreniere. Like, I'm sorry, but what does that do to a Pittsburgh Penguins team that wasn't already good enough in the first place, where you take away their best player and you replace him with a rookie who's at like 1 goal so far in the entire year? Of course Lafreniere's going to get better, but the point is it's the best player for a guy who is unproven at the NHL yet. So that's why, if you're going to go full future in a Crosby trade, if you're giving up the return, it's got to be a whole bunch of stuff. Either a whole bunch of stuff in terms of the future department, and it's a very high magnitude amount of stuff, or you're giving up some very good quality assets now that can be good later on too, because the Penguins are going to want young assets that would help them out in a rebuild. Of course, this is only assuming Darren Dreger's philosophy comes true, which I don't believe it will, but you know what? Let's have the conversation about it anyway, because I know a lot of people get ticked off. Oh, Lego, you're abusing your right as a YouTuber making a video about this clickbait topic. But I mean, people were talking about this all over Twitter. Like, people were asking me in DMs, hey, what do you think about this? Crosby? Rangers? Avalanche? What do you think? And like, because it's such a big deal, why not make a conversational type video about it? Like, it's not a sin to make a video about things that people are talking about, right? And it's not like this is a harmful topic either. We're not talking about very touchy things. No, it's just a trade rumor talking about one of the best players in the entire world. So talk to me in the comments what you think about this idea here. Does Dreger have a point? Because I'm saying here, I disagree with it. I can understand the perspective for sure, but where he says he wouldn't be surprised if Crosby said it, I would be. So let me know in the comments if you would be or would not be as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. Also, let me know what you think about the Colorado thing, the New York thing. What would the return be? Would you even be interested in entertaining this if you're an Avs or a Rangers fan? So that's Trolls 99. And bye.